Praise the Lord. This is Minister Deborah McGuire with your Monday motivation. We want to give you a lift or encouragement for the week. For the month of February, we are highlighting individuals or events for Black History Month. The individual that I'm highlighting is the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Who is Martin Luther King Jr.? Well, his name is Michael, was originally Michael Luther King. He was born in Atlanta, Georgia. He ended up being first a Baptist minister and then a social activist for the civil rights movement during 1950s and 1960s. When he was 15 years old, he went to Morehouse College. After Morehouse College, he went to Crozer Theological Seminary. After that, he went to Boston University. King advanced civil rights through nonviolence and civil disobedience. He was inspired by his Christian beliefs. He was number one, a pastor or a minister, and then he was a social activist. He was a leader of the American Civil Rights Movement. He organized nonviolent, peaceful protests as the head of the SCLC, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. He led the massive March on Washington in 1963. And at the age of 35, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, the youngest person to have received that award at that time. He played a pivotal role in ending legal segregation of the African Americans in the USA. One of the main quotes that he gives, I'm going to read to you, is freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. I personally feel that because he was a Black man living in the South and he saw the injustices and the cruelties and the deaths and the bullying, that he was pushed, maybe not his choice, but he was pushed into being a leader for us as African Americans. I have a poem that was written by a special person that I know that I want to give you. The poem is labeled King is His Name. I met a man and his name was King, and he delighted to talk about his dream. His dream was convincing and was also true. He would tell the forgotten that they could make it through. He would tell of the hardship that had fell our lot and would tell the whole world that it's just got to stop. Stop pressing the old, the jobless, and the poor while it continues to heap riches on the millionaire's door. He would talk of the races, how it reflects a mankind, how they would speak for the prejudices and pretend to be blind to the right that would lead us on home and give us the courage so we won't have to roam. Dr. King's dream was heard both near and far. He would raise his voice and multitudes would cheer. He would declare the truth and proclaim it loud. He would talk of overcoming and the churches would shout. The sad would rejoice when they heard this man and say with assurance that he's got the right plan. He tells of this nation, how it's fallen so low, and tell of the changes that's needed to continue to grow. This man was known the whole world wide for his mission of peace, for his stamina and pride. He was proud of the truth that he held to so dear and stood with conviction without any fear. He led many marches and stood up for right, would speak out with boldness and yet would not fight. His strength and courage was enlightening to see that you've got to be strong if you want to be free. Dr. King was a strong man and he never would bow. He would stand on the conviction and tell others how to stand for the right when the way seems so dark, just to hold your head high and depend on the Lord. As this man traveled from city to city and looked at the woes, he said, "That's a pity." He looked at the homeless with the sad look on their face and said to himself, "This is really a disgrace. In a land of plenty for only the chosen few, for no one seems to care what the poor ones must do. In a land that is led with such great delight and seem to have pride in keeping the poor from receiving their sight." This was written by my father, Leo Boyd. Thank you.